Hello. Alright. Welcome back to another VOD review. Okay, so this time I was told to put the music a little quieter, so. Well, I didn't write down notes, but I have a lot to talk about this week, because this week I played Christian, and Christian was probably my toughest opponent of the season. So, I studied a lot for Christian. Well, how to movement. I'm drinking my smoothie at the same time. So, I beat Christian 3-0. Spoiler. Sorry. But like last time, I'm going to go over the teams and stuff, and I'm going to go over what I did. So, first up, I'm going to pull this up. I think this is nice to have. This is the prep doc thing? I don't know exactly what it's called, but it shows you matchups, moves, stuff like that. So, we're going to go over here, and we're going to take a look at our matchup here. So, we'll start with the speed. You can see the speed. I have Iron Bundle, and I have Speed Control with Vikavolt, so I was hoping that if he brought any kind of set besides Boots on Greninja, well, even if he brings Choice Scarf, if I have Webs Up, Bundle will always outspeed it. So my goal here was... Well, let's not talk about my goal yet. First, we'll go over the team. Okay, so Christian has Greninja, was his first pick. This isn't an order of pick. I took this in speed order, so it's kind of weird to see. So we can go to the dock here, and we can go in pick order. Christian at pick 16 started with Greninja, Raging Bolt. He sniped Raging Bolt for me. Scizor, Jirachi, Galarian Moltres, Serena, Mudsdale, Armarouge, Azumarill, Hisuian Sneasel, Dracloak. Dracloak is his token 1-pointer, and Hisuian Sneasel is actually pretty good. I don't know how many points it is, but I was a little scared of it. The game plan here, as Christian has told me a lot this season already, is that it's really hard to switch into Raging Bolt plus Doom Desire. I know Doom Desire isn't used a lot in, like, actual competitive because, oh, Iron Head Flinch is just better. But that's lame. Doom Desire is a crazy move. If you've ever played competitive, you know Future Sight is awesome. And Doom Desire not having a immunity makes it so much better. I think it's more powerful, too. I guess we could see really quick here. I'll go to my team builder and do Jirachi, who is, by the way, the GOAT of a Pokemon. It is 140 as opposed to Future Sight's 120. So, yeah, Doom Desire, awesome, crazy good move. A little bit of lore. I don't know what gen this was changed, but it used to be untyped damage. And it used to be affected by items, but I think Gen 5 or Gen 6 they changed that. It also could miss. So, wow. But yeah, Doom Desire, awesome, awesome, awesome move. It's one of my favorites, and it's one of the coolest moves in the game. So, yeah, I was pretty worried about that. Another thing you can see here, when I prep, I always go down to this, and I see, okay, what can I hit them with? What's good? And you can see Ground has a lot of, he has 1 ground neutrality, or 1 ground resistance and 1 ground immunity. So I thought this was a really good lander this week. But other than that, you can see on mine here that I don't have any Dark Resist except Conkeldurr, and I can't Terra into a Dark Resist either. Now, I did pick up Pachirisu this week, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. I was really scared of Raging Bolt, so... Pachirisu, kind of a Raging Bolt counter, honestly. Low-key, on the lowest of keys. But it had to Terra, and that would mean I'd have to lead it, or sack something in order to get it set up. And that was really unreliable, so... But yeah, you can see that Dark here. I only have Conkeldurr, and Conkeldurr is weak to flying, and not especially bulky, so I thought Galarian Moltres was probably going to come, and I actually prepped a lot for it last minute. But instead he brought Armarouge, which I wasn't expecting, because with my team with Floatzel able to just jet in rain, I thought Armarouge getting set up wasn't, you know, that good. So I didn't really prep for Armarouge at all. He did end up bringing it. Other things about Christian's team, he has a shit ton of priority. Like a lot. And it's good priority too. You have Thunderclap, you have Water Shuriken, Aqua Jet, Bullet Punch. I mean, these moves are crazy. The suckers aren't like amazing, but yeah, you can see that I don't know, I almost thought about picking up Indeedee and stuff to deal with this because it was really frustrating. But at the end of the day, I decided to stay with what I have and pick up Pachirisu, which it was a 3-point endeavor. But yeah, his rockers, he doesn't have a ton of rockers. So Jirachi Mudsdale, I knew one of them was going to come. He likes to set up rocks. I wasn't thinking spikes were going to come up, especially since I have Clodsire. I don't think it's such a big deal to have toxic spikes up because as soon as Clodsire switches in, they're gone. I thought Serena probably had to come since I have webs. Usually you don't bring defog on Scizor. There have been weeks where he hasn't brought removal at all, but against my team I think it's pretty important. Especially because of the ease that Clodsire can technically get rocks up, but I have a hard time doing that, so honestly I don't really know. And you can see Christian loves U-turn, a lot of U-turners, so our Caledon switching into U-turn will be really nice to get up a nice big, what's it called? Electro Shot, Draco Meteor, whatever. So yeah, another thing I missed here, which we'll look at in the game, is Raging Bolt gets Taunt, which, wow, crazy mon. Anyway, for my pickups this week, I picked up Pachirisu. I Terra'd it. I took Terra off of Vikavolt and I Terra'd Pachirisu, Electric, Dark, Fairy. Fairy, Pachirisu completely walls any normal Iron or Raging Bolt set, so yeah. And then because of Raging Bolt, I felt it was very hard to bring Floatzel. Even if Floatzel could set up like a substitute in front of the Thunderclap, he couldn't one-shot back, which made Raging Bolt really, really annoying to deal with. Ice Spinner obviously isn't doing as much as 1 billion boosted Wave Crash with Band, Tear Water, and Rain. So, yeah, I thought about a lot of things this week. I don't have them all in this builder here, but this was the team I ended up bringing. So we can go over each part here. I brought this Vikavolt. This was spec'd to outspeed Azumarill, and outspeed it at a little speed creep, so I think 56 outsped Azumarill, or 60 outsped Azumarill, and I wanted to outspeed an 8 EV Azumarill, so I did 68. So if it was at 138 with 8 speed EVs. And the rest was into defense. This was one of my only reliable Scizor counters. Scizor was very annoying for my team. Floatzel could always take a Bullet Punch, but a lot of my guys had trouble switching into it. If it got a Swords Dance up, this was something that could take a move. I could sack this reliably, and if he Swords Danced again, I don't know. And if I had webs up already, then it was easier to deal with the Scizor because a lot of my things could outspeed it under webs, and then it has to Bullet Punch, which means something like Arcaladon can come in and one-shot it, or at least do a lot of damage to it to allow me to one-shot it later, or clean it up. But yeah, so I had Sticky Web here, Volt Switch, obviously I went slow priority, or slow switching. Energy Ball I had on there for Mudsdale, so Mudsdale was a little bit of a problem. Christian really likes to bring this specific Mudsdale set, so it's Mudsdale. He liked to bring Stamina, obviously, and then Body Press, Earthquake, Stealth Rock, Roar. And he would do either physically defensive or max specially defensive, and then he brought a Resist Berry one week, so I was kind of worried about like Yachi Berry. This was the set that came up a lot in my prep. Or just Leftovers, obviously, is still really good. So I was scared of this. But if it didn't have something like Stone Edge, then it was very easy for my Vikavolt to kind of just sit in front of it and pressure Energy Ball. Obviously, I can't get Earthquake, and Body Press isn't doing like a ton. Well, as long as it doesn't have a bunch of defense boosts. But Energy Ball for that, and then Thunderbolt was good, constant damage. I could have put Bug Buzz on here for Serena, but Serena could Terra. Its Terra types were Grass, Fairy, Poison, and I didn't really want to Bug Buzz into Fairy or Poison. So I decided, you know what, I'll probably just Volt Switch out on it anyway. It's kind of tough if it presses Rapid Spin. I was considering not doing the whole Pachirisu thing, which probably wasn't smart in the first place, but I was considering putting Terra Ghost on this guy. I do have Terra Ghost now, but, you know, it would have been nice for this week for that specific situation. And then, yeah, with the Outspeed, it's able to hit Azumarill for big damage. I don't think it ever one-shots, but, I mean, it might, so I can open a calculator here. That's the one thing I didn't open. I was told to open all my tabs first this time. So, yeah. Oops. I wanted to close this one. Alright, so if we have Vikavolt as a setter, obviously I'm not modest. I was plus defense. The plus defense Vikavolt has really been doing like a lot of work. Plus defense minus attack. And then Azumarill. 252. I was assuming 252 HP was a little more likely than 252 speed. My team kind of speed creeps it. Or, I don't know. I don't like 252 speed Azumarill. I mean, is that even outspeeding Archelodon? I don't think so. So, if I'm clicking Thunderbolt here. Thunderbolt. I mean, that's doing good damage. So, Volt switch out on it once, Thunderbolt later. It was nice. And then if you have one Thunderbolt off on it, or I guess this also, if I had Rocks chip up, it would kill, or had a roll to kill. It would be easier for Iron Bundle to come in and freeze dry later. So, Boots, of course, and then I wanted to bring the shiny. I've been wanting to bring the shiny, so I brought the shiny. Star Platinum, the Landorus. So, I was running a couple different sets on this guy. I was trying Pasho Berry and Swords Dance, so I could kind of sweep through his team. Because obviously, as you saw with this, his only ground immunity is Moltres, and then he has the resist with Serena. But if Serena's out of the way, which was kind of the goal, then yeah, I can just roam free with the Landorus. And at +2, it's killing pretty much anything. So that's what I wanted to do. In practice, Swords Dance was never really able to be pressed, but I kept it anyway. I guess that could have been another move, like, I don't know, Taunt or Stealth Rock. We'll see in the game. There may have been a location to set that up, but I was happy with it. Earth Plate was so it could more consistently kill a Raging Bolt. So if Raging Bolt had some defense or some HP, it was hard for this to actually take it down in one. Obviously, it gets chipped a lot because it doesn't have any way to recover. But yeah, this was just to have better rolls. Made the rolls on defensive Jirachi better. I don't know what he's going to bring defensively. You always throw in, like, you're EVing to live specific stuff, right? So this would just do a little more damage. And I liked it more than the Water Berry, because the Water Berry, while useful if I had Sword Dance set up and I needed to... Like, if I had Swords Dance and Web set up and I wanted to sweep through the team and I needed to take an Azumarill Aqua Jet, it's nice, but it wasn't a situation that came up a lot in testing. So, and then the Rock Slide to hit the Moltres. This would two-shot usually, and then I'm always outspeeding the Moltres. So, yeah, this was a nice set. U-turn also, obviously you're gonna run U-turn. Also, this is hitting the Serena super effective. So, I misspelled Row, so this is now Bow Me Bundle Boys. I don't know what that means. Maybe they're getting attacked by a pirate ship or something, and they have to draw their bows, and yeah. But this is my Iron Bundle. As you can see, I know it's the end of Bug Month today, but all my Terra types are Bug, in honor of Bug Month. While I was testing, it was still Bug Month, so. Freeze Dry, Ice Beam, Hydro Pump, super standard. Instead of Flip Turn, I decided to go for Substitute. How this would work is if you're in endgame versus Raging Bolt, and it's like, oh, I have to press Thunderclap, I can press Substitute, and it gives me an additional, like, mind game to play. This didn't actually come up a super lot in testing, because I feel like you're expecting Iron Bundle to switch out anyway in front of Raging Bolt, so you're clicking either Volt Switch or Draco Meteor. But in the case that it came down to Raging Bolt versus Iron Bundle, I think this was really nice to have. Obviously, if you click Substitute on Thunderclap, the next Thunderclap will hit the Substitute, and you're able to do good damage. If the Raging Bolt is chipped at all, then I'm able to kill it with Beam. Or Freeze Dry. In practice, I was really worried about Greninja and Moltres hitting this guy, especially. So I had some leftover EVs, I threw them in Special Defense. I don't know how much this mattered. It didn't end up mattering in the match at all, but I think those 112 EVs could have gone anywhere. It was just nice to have a little more insurance against, like, a Greninja Ice Beam, because this guy was my Ice Resist. So, coming in on a Choice Specs or a Choice Scarf Ice Beam and forcing the Greninja to switch out was really nice. And then just enough speed to outspeed Max Speed Greninja. And then the rest in Special Attack. I experimented with a a max special attack booster spatak set that would outspeed everything after webs, but that was so reliant on getting webs set up, and I couldn't bring this in versus Greninja like during the testing, and like if I needed to take an Ice Beam. So the common lead that would happen would be like if he led Greninja, and I was going to lead this pretty much no matter what. I thought it was really nice to just immediately threaten Earthquake, and then if he leads something like Armarouge, or he leads something like, I don't know, Raging Bolt, or Scizor, this was really nice to get chip damage on Scizor, because if he didn't fall for my trap, then Scizor needed damage on it. Luckily, we'll see that later. But yeah, I liked the Iron Bundle set. Sucks to only have Hydro Pump. Obviously, your next best move is Water Pulse. Doesn't even get Weather Ball. Yeah, not an 18-pointer, what can I say? And then Boots so we can come in more. I didn't bring Removal, as you can see this week, so these two guys needed Boots. William Claude. Again, I experimented a lot with this guy, but you can see this is a very standard set. The funny thing was, I brought Water Absorb not to absorb water specifically, but because when facing Raging Bolt, if I switch into a Draco Meteor, yeah, if I was unaware, he could just do it again. So that was tough. I think there were rolls to kill there. I mean, we can check here. Clodsire versus Raging Bolt. And if you don't know, unaware does not apply to the booster energy. So, yeah. So yeah, you can see there's a lot of rolls there that are gonna let it kill if it has booster energy. No booster energy, it's never gonna two-shot anyway. But yeah, if it's booster energy or specs or something, and I don't want it to two-shot me, so that was the reason I brought Water Absorb. Secondary, of course, it's able to absorb a Greninja hit or a Azumarill hit. Very nice to like switch in and absorb an Aqua Jet to get this back up if I need to. Black Sludge just helped with recovery. I was thinking about running Yachi Berry, but I just thought Black Sludge was a little better for letting this guy tank on Raging Bolt. And then the moveset, Recover, Stealth Route, Earthquake, pretty standard. Poison Jab, I was originally thinking about running Toxic Spikes or like a Rock move, because if this guy was in front of Galarian Moltres and it put up sub, I was really scared. So I actually had a whole plan. If Raging Bolt was in front of Clodsire, I would double out to Gardevoir to catch the Moltres switch-in. It didn't end up happening, but I don't know how that would have gone. I didn't test it too much, but it was like a last-minute thing. I was like, I need to diffuse the Moltres so it doesn't double dance. It doesn't, because it's scary. Again, you saw with my my type matchup chart here. Moltres would have been guy would have been scary. If I had Unaware on this, it would have been fine, but I can't run Unaware this week because of the affirmation stuff. So Poison Jab was nice. It allowed me to call out switch-ins on something like Serena or well, basically just Serena. Obviously, I'm able to hit, or I guess Azumarill too, but you're not really switching Azumarill into this. But yeah, it's nice to hit Serena if it's not Terra, and if it does Terra, then Earthquake and Poison Jab cover all its Terra types, so that was nice. I thought about running Rocky Helmet on this to chip down Serena if it used Triple Axle, but again, I needed something to deal with Raging Bolt. That was when I was kind of in the Pachirisu phase. While we're talking about this, I might as well show you the Pachirisu set that I was thinking about running. This set was... it was better than you'd think. I ran Terra Fairy Volt Absorb, so obviously that's going to deal with a lot of Iron Bundle stuff. And then I was running Encore, U-Turn, I didn't want to Volt Switch into the Mudsdale and deal with that. I don't know if U-Turn would have been better than Volt Switch or not, but because you're defense proccing the Mudsdale, and that gives it more power to body press. And then I was running Nuzzle, and I was running Super Fang. So the idea was, when this comes out in front of Raging Bolt, it's able to just press Super Fang, and if something comes in, they're just getting halved. Scizor would come in a lot, right? Because that's nice, easy switching, especially when this is Terra Fairies, and this is obviously going to die to a Bullet Punch. So I was thinking about running something like Babribi Berry or Citrus Berry, and then most of the sets were like 248 HP, and then either something to outspeed something specific or just a bunch of defense in order to survive more heavy slams from Raging Bolt, which, he did have to think about it because I put this on my team. I don't know if the move choices on Raging Bolt were for this specifically, or because he said he's been having some writer's block with team building. I thought his team was fine, but I don't know. It's tough. I get it. Like when you're playing a lot of Mons and you don't know what to build. I love Mons, so I play a lot. So yeah, fingers crossed. It doesn't. Well, I am burned out sometimes, but not right now. I love playing Mons. I might cut that out. That was a lot of talk about Mons. Well, obviously this is a lot of it. Anyway, back to my team. Clodsire. Talked about Clodsire. Gardevoir. So this Gardevoir was my Scizor answer. 84 defense EVs allows you to live a choice banded Scizor Bullet Punch after Stealth Rock at 252 Adamant, and kill it with Mystical Fire. Along with that, I was 80 speed, specifically to outspeed a Moltres that was 252, in case that came up. So if you're like a modest Moltres and you're running like a Citrus Berry set, I wanted to be able to outspeed that. Also, that's now outspeeding Raging Bolt and Armarouge, which is really nice. The Armarouge thing did actually come up, I think, so very glad I had that speed on there. And then I put the defense, obviously, to survive the Bullet Punch, and the rest into special attack. Mystical Fire for the Scizor. It's also nice to be able to drop the special attack on something like Raging Bolt, because then it's a little easier to take care of. Smoothie break. And then Moonblast. Obviously, that's your damage dealer. Healing Wish. In case something like my Landorus or Iron Bundle or my Archaludon got chipped down, I wanted to be able to bring them back. And Vacuum Wave. This was kind of an insurance policy against something like an Armarouge that's gotten set up with Endure. I wanted to bring at least one priority move on the team, because if that happened, otherwise I wouldn't really have a way to deal with it. Like a weakness policy set that got hit by Earthquake, pressed Endure, and now it's running through my whole team. So I played around it also, but Vacuum Wave just in case. Also, if Greninja is Battle Bond, this is chunking it for pretty good damage, and lets me kill it with something else, in case something wasn't going to kill. I don't know. And if Greninja's at low, or like half health, then Vacuum Wave's also chunking it, as long as it's not protein, or hasn't, like, proteined its type into a different type. Unless it's Ice, which, you know, is pretty good against my team here. Ice is the way he's hitting Archaludon, Claude, and Landorus, so Ice is something he could turn into. So yeah, that was the Gardevoir. I really like the Vacuum Wave. This Vacuum Wave has been awesome. Also, like on Scizor, it lets me chip Scizor. Great inclusion on the set. And then, last but not least, I have the Archaludon set. I looked at a lot of different Archaludon sets this week, but I ended up going with Power Herb Electroshot. So, obviously you can see here, again, this one doesn't outspeed the Moltres. Maybe I should have made it do that, but I only really wanted it to outspeed Raging Bolt. Christian brought like Choice Scarf Raging Bolt against Gilbert last week, so I was like, I don't want to have to deal with that. So, Electroshot is my best way to kill Azumarill, because otherwise Azumarill like super walls me. So I wanted this to just chunk. I wanted this to just do as much damage as possible at first. Like, it come in on Serena. If Serena clicks like Triple Axle or U-turn or something into this, then very nice. I get a defense boost. It's faster than most of the stuff on his team. Greninja can't one-shot it after like any of those moves, so it's like, big damage. And it worked just as planned. It was my emergency button against Armarouge today, so. Electric Shot for the electric damage and the boost for the Power Herb. Draco Meteor, obviously, you wanted to kill Raging Bolt and do big damage elsewhere. Thunderbolt, I wanted to be able to Thunderbolt the Azumarill in the case where I did not have Power Herb anymore. If it got knocked off, or if I had already used it, I wanted to be able to still hit the Azumarill, because otherwise Azumarill could just switch in here, click like Belly Drum or something. And then Dark Pulse was to hit the Jirachi, or just hit some stuff neutrally. This didn't come up a ton, but it was really nice to be able to have this to hit something that was like Serena, for example, and where I didn't want to get my special attack dropped and I didn't have Power Herb anymore. So, I don't know what else I could have ran here. I guess I could have run Flash Cannon, but then this set doesn't have a good way to hit Jirachi if it doesn't have Herb still active. So I like this. I thought about running Rocks on this. I thought about running like a Metal Burst set. This guy can do anything. The one thing you can notice here is he doesn't get a fire move, so to kill Scizor, I couldn't use this guy. And then so that's why she's here. I could have also brought Conkeldurr with Fire Punch, but since I'm running Rain, like I don't have a lot of fire options. So yeah, Scizor Killer, and then just the Hole Maker. He's blasting. So the rest I put into Special Defense. I originally had it in HP, but again, just helps me survive Greninja stuff. Not gonna help against Armarouge, but I don't know. It felt nicer to have the Special Defense. So yeah, that was the team. These nicknames should all still be eligible. I changed this one, so technically this isn't eligible for the nickname award. But he's so cute. Look at him. He's so silver. So yeah, let's get into the match. We can go over Christian's team as we go through the match, but I'm gonna pretend like I don't. I'm gonna explain why I made my decisions as we do this. So we'll start off here. So the lead is Landorus into Jirachi. This is good for me. This is what I like to see because I can click Earthquake. Jirachi can do a couple things here to me. Jirachi can click Icy Wind or Ice Punch, and they're going to do a big chunk of damage, but it could probably be Spec to kill, honestly. But you have to be Scarf, because I'm spec'd specifically to live anything this, or specifically to be faster than this, right? With the 240, 248. So I'm like, alright, great, I'm going to press Earthquake here. I think that's a nice move. Jirachi, again, if it's Scarfed, maybe it threatens a kill. I'm not really sure. I didn't check, but I was like, I don't think he's going to bring that. I guess we can double check here. If you have Landorus... I always spell it wrong. I always spell it with a E. And then if you have something like Jirachi with Scarf, and it's running Ice Punch. Ice Punch. That is killing. That's a 68.8% roll to kill. I guess it could also be Adamant, so you could have a guaranteed KO. I didn't think that was going to happen. That's a lot to do for Jirachi. You could do that. You could run an Iron Head set. But Christian doesn't tend to do that kind of stuff with Jirachi. He tends to make it set Rocks and U-turn and press Doom Desire and maybe have some coverage. So I was pretty confident here clicking Earthquake. So I'm going to click Earthquake here. Serena comes in. That's fine with me. It'll take some damage. And I didn't look at this calc here. I just assumed, okay, it's resisted. And now I need to U-turn out. Because now in this position, I am threatened by none other than Triple Axel. And obviously that can miss, but I don't want to get hit by Triple Axel. I'm going to die to Triple Axel. So I'm U-turning out. This could be Scarf again, but typically when playing Draft, I'm not worried about those kind of sets like a ton. Because if you want this to kill specifically Landorus, like, and you put Scarf on it, then like, okay, good for you. I can probably deal with it elsewhere. Also, so I should have checked the damage roll there. I do after this, and this did 32, and during practice, that was doing a lot more. That was doing like 50. So from there, I know this is actually max defense. This is 252 HP, 252 defense, plus defense. I don't remember what the minus is. Doesn't matter. Insanely defensive Pokemon. So that's really good to know. I am worried here if it has Synthesis, but I don't think it has Synthesis because I'm like the Rain team, right? And you don't really want to bring Synthesis into Rain. So I'm expecting a knock. I was kind of okay with getting knocked here. I didn't really want anybody else to get knocked. But I was expecting an Axel. Knock is probably the safer play, right? Because you know you're expecting the Axel. But he clicks U-turn here. So that's fine with me. I've got a lot of information on the Serena. So I'm very happy. I think I'm already up here. And he goes into the Armarouge. So this thing is scary. I believe it can just... Smoothie break. I believe it can just kill me with Armor Cannon if it's choiced, like Scarfed. But again, I don't think it's going to be Scarfed. If this is Scarfed here, the way I built my team, I'm in a really bad spot. But again, the Floatzel kind of disincentivizes stuff like this from bringing Scarf because I mean, you're going to get outsped in rain anyway, and then you're going to get hit with a water move. So why would you do that? I'm out of music, so let me put this back to full. So yeah, that's why I did that, and that's why I assumed I was faster here. So you can see Nifty, even though I wasn't considering this, since this has the same speed tier as Raging Bolt, I know I'm faster here. So I'm going to chunk this because I'm scared of it. I'm really scared of it. So I thought about this for not very long. I was like, I need to get rid of this. I don't have a good switch into Armor Cannon. I could switch in Clodsire, but if he's not choiced, he ends up being choiced, but if he's not choiced, which I'm assuming he's not, I'm worried so much by like Armor Cannon plus Psyshock, and that's just going to obliterate Clodsire. So I'm going to Electro Shot here. I'm going to do 24. That's good damage, and I get Armor Cannoned, so I'm like, okay. That's fine. I'm fine trading that much damage for my Archaludon. He's done his job. So Gardevoir comes out here. I sat on the switch for a while there because I was looking at the calcs and I was like, does Electroshot take into account the plus 1 special attack in the calculator when it shows the damage, or should I put it at +1? But I eventually figured out that it has it calculated in the move, which you know because it was doing the same amount of damage as Draco Meteor. And since Draco Meteor's stab, that gets a 1.5 multiplier. So, I don't remember the exact damage calculation formula, but I was like, okay, since they're doing the same damage, it must take that into consideration when calculating Electroshot without the +1 added on the calculator. So, because of that, I knew that this wasn't like super specially defensive, so I was like, I can probably kill this with Moonblast. I should be faster, and my goal here is to bait in the Scizor at some point, thinking it can Bullet Punch me. Because unless I'm Babreebe Berry, there's pretty much no way I'm living a Bullet Punch. And he'll especially know that if I'm clicking Moonblast here and I outspeed this. So that's exactly what's going to happen here. I'm going to Moonblast, and just for completion's sake, we're going to look at his Armors here. You can see his choice specs, it's got 80 HP. So we're going to go into the calculator here. We're going to look at Gardevoir versus Armarouge. And we're going to look at 80 HP. He's at 24%. And I am about to Moonblast him with, I think I have 188 special attack. Is that correct? Yeah. So 188 special attack, Moonblast is, and he's at -1 in both his defenses. So yeah, I'm doing 40. Oh, this is modest also. I'm like plus speed. I'm like timid or something. So yeah, 39 to 46. You can see I was looking at this a little bit like if he is 252, like will it still kill? What did he have to be to kill the Archaludon? Obviously I couldn't tell it was specs from the roll on the Archaludon, but I know it's not Scarfed, so I'm pretty comfortable just clicking Moonblast here. And it turns out that I am okay. So he sends in Jirachi here, which, that's annoying, because I don't want this to get chipped. If this gets chipped, it can't check Scizor later, it's going to get Bullet Punched, and I'm going to be very sad. So I got to get out of there. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go to Landers. I was expecting this to either U-turn or press Stealth Rock or press Doom Desire. So the reason I went Landers there is because I wasn't really worried about a move. It could have pressed something like Flash Cannon or Iron Head, but Landers is taking that well enough. This is the scary play, but I think it was the right play in hindsight. Obviously, my other options there are to go to, like, Bundle. I don't want Bundle taking something, and Bundle can't threaten this back. So if I go Bundle or I go Claude, I don't know what this is going to do. If I go Vikavolt here, I think that was the other one I was, like, pretty considering. Vikavolt could Volt Switch out, like, or set webs and then Volt Switch. And it should be able to take a couple Jirachi hits, but it's pretty passive, so I wanted to just threaten here. So that's what I do, especially with no Moltres. This is super big at threatening. So he's going to Stealth Rock. That's fine. My team is built, so I don't really care too much about rocks. Raging Bolt comes out. I'm really happy to see that, but it is Balloon. So this is a great play. I think... Smoothie break. I think U-turn... Knowing Christian, I think U-turn might have been smarter there. I'm still, like, in my head, like, this could be Shucka Berry. This could be a lot of different things. You could just be saving it for later. But if it's Shucka, I don't think you switch out the first time. So, and like you kill with something like the Ice Punch or whatever. Or you click Icy Wind into Icy Wind. So this is probably not Shucka. I don't know anything about its defenses though. It can survive stuff if it's max defense. If I'm like a Landorus, and this calc always goes to this. So I was Earth Plates, and I was Jolly. Jolly is good old Santa Claus, and I was 252, and I was Earthquake, and he was a Jirachi. So, if you're like, let's see, if you're, oh, I'm still 0. I was wondering why that wasn't doing a ton. Okay, yeah, so I have a good roll to kill at 252. That's what? A 70% chance roll to kill. If you're 252, I'm not killing. So, I don't know if Earthquake's the best there, but again, if he switched out the first time, I think I probably should have U-turned here. And that would have caught another Serena switch in. That would have caught this Balloon. I think U-turn there was probably the correct play. But also, since I know nothing about the Jirachi except that it's Stealth Rocks at that point, I did want to see if I could get a little more information out of it. But that's fine. Okay, so U-turn, probably the right play there. But I can U-turn now. So, after the match, we talked about this a little bit. It was probably would have been really nice to go into, like, Scizor here or something on the inevitable U-turn. Because, like, what am I going to do here? You know? Who fucking knows? I could click, Rock Slide, right? I mean, he doesn't know I have that. I could U-turn out on the Balloon. I could be clicking... I don't even know what else gets this physical, honestly. Let's see. Crunch. Hammer Arm. I don't know. There's not a lot that this can do here. So I think the correct play here is to double to Scizor or double to back to Jirachi or something. Obviously, that gives me priority on the U-turn, but it's nicer than letting this Balloon get popped. Because this Balloon is really nice to let this deal with the Landorus. But he lets the Balloon get popped, which is pretty awesome for me. So, Raging Bolt comes in, gets Earthquake, U-turn out to pop the Balloon, and I'm going to go into Claude here, because that's what Claude is meant to do. I'm expecting like a Draco here or something, but he hits me with the Taunt. I didn't know this got Taunt, so this kind of puts me in a precarious position. So, if I now get Meteored, I can't, like, this could Meteor me. Or Pulse me or something, and it's probably going to beat me out in the long run. But I don't think he wants to get Earthquaked here. So, I'm going to press Jab. So I was really hoping that Serena would come in here. I don't think you ever want Scizor to get chipped. I really didn't think that this was going to come in. I thought the Serena was going to come in, which is why I pressed Jab. But I get a nice critical hit. I don't know how much this ended up mattering, but it did put me in a really good spot later. So, yeah, that crit was very, very nice. So, I'm in here. I don't know what the Greninja is yet, right? I've got the crit, but yeah. So, my options here are I could hard switch to Bundle, which you could U-turn out of. I could go to Gardevoir, who can probably take a hit, but I really don't want to do that. Or I could go to Vikavolt. I can't go Landorus because, like, I'm pretty sure I'm going to need Ice Beamed here. If I'm lucky, he presses Surf, but he doesn't do that because he's a smart player. I feel like I was talking to my mocking partner, Steven, and he was like, yeah, before the Clodsire's ability is revealed, you kind of just always assume it's both abilities at once. Or just always assume it has Water Absorb. Or, no, really you assume it has both abilities at once until you know for sure which one it is. Because otherwise you can get totally fucked over. So he does that. He assumes I'm probably Water Absorb, and he presses the Beam. So I take a good chunk. I take 60 from this. So I'm looking at the calculator, and I'm like, it has Life Orb on there on default. And I'm like, oh, that's within the Life Orb roll. This is probably Scarf. No Life Orb chip. Impossible roll without lore or specs. So this was a specs roll, but because I was not thinking clearly, apparently, and this is the first big mistake I make in this match, I assumed this was Scarf. Now, it's not too big of a deal because, with that assumption, I'm assuming it's choice locked. I didn't see Lorb. I guess it could still be Boots, but I think at this point you want to kill the Clodsire. If this is, I don't know. If it didn't do that much and it could click extra sensory here, maybe it's a little scary to switch in the bundle. But I got a little lucky here with the assumption that it was going to click Beam again. So I click Earthquake on this. But yeah, I do think you really want to kill the Clodsire, right? You're not going to click you're not going to switch out or anything. So I was like, okay, he's probably going to Beam again. I'm Earthquaking. I had this as a roll to kill, and we can look at the Greninja here. It was 56 HP, so it probably actually wasn't a roll to kill. I had it at a 37.5% roll. But I was like, that's good enough to stay and see what the item is on this. Because I know I'm never going to die. Cloud's big. So yeah, Taunt wears off on this turn. I get a little bit with Black Sludge, which is nice. And then I'm going to go into Bundle because I think he's beaming again, which I get correct. So that's very nice. With the second beam, it's pretty much confirmed to me that he's choiced. I still think he's Scarfed here because I'm a stupid doo-doo head, but I mean, same thing applies. So I don't think he's going to stay in here. I think he's probably going to switch to Jirachi because he does not want to get Chip on Scizor, and he doesn't want to get either of these, hit with an Ice move. And this is low enough where an Ice move is obviously going to kill. So I click Hydro Pump. Misses. Not the biggest deal. It would have been very nice because if this was physically defensive, this would have guaranteed a kill with Landorus. As long as it's not Shucka, but yeah, that was a little upsetting. But that's fine. So this comes in here. I actually forgot what I did this turn. Okay, I'm going back into Clodsire. So at that point, I just don't want the bundle to take damage. I don't know what this is going to do. If this is especially defensive, it could click something like Thunderbolt. It could click Doom Desire. It could click Flash Cannon. Claude is the mon here that I'm most willing to, just let go. It's already low. If this does click something like Doom Desire, maybe it doesn't have something that can kill Claude and I can click Recover. That would be really nice. So that's why I switched Claude back in here. Also, it lets me get a little more recovery at the end of the turn. But he does click U-turn to go back into the Greninja. At this point, I don't think he's going to fall for the bundle again, which would be the obvious choice. If this has another move, it's probably going to use it. I don't know if Dark Pulse kills here, but even if he reads something with the bundle coming in, that's really bad for me. I need the bundle to stay alive because it's important to my game plan. I let it die a lot in mocks, and Greninja would just sweep me up. So, yeah. Extra Sensory. So, good thing that I let it die. Very, very good. Okay, so here I have my trap set up. So, from what I'm seeing, Vacuum Wave should have a roll to kill. It's a very low roll. It's very close, but it should be guaranteed. So, I'll go back up to my Gardevoir set. I was 188. 188. And I was Timid. And he was Greninja. No, he was Choice Specs and he was 48 HP? 56 HP. So a little higher. So I know he is Psychic. So we'll put him on Psychic type. We'll put him at 5% health. And we'll put Vacuum Wave on here. So yeah, that's still doing... Honestly, that's doing more damage than I saw on the calculator, so I don't know what the deal with that is, but yeah. That's a lot more damage than I thought it was. Wow. I thought it was a relatively close roll, but I guess not. I mean, let's recheck just to be totally sure. Sometimes these can get messed up with like the Obama Snow stuff. Greninja. 56. Psychic. Yeah. Okay, so better roll than I thought. And by better roll, I mean guaranteed, but more guaranteed than I thought. But yeah, I was like, okay, so the idea here is this comes in, kills the Greninja. Very nice. After that, I think the Scizor comes in, because it's so juicy to kill the Gardevoir here. So I'm going to kill a Scizor, and I'm running around my table. I'm like, please send in the Scizor. Please. And he does. He falls for the trap. So I will live anything this thing does to me. And it's going to Bullet Punch, and I'm going to eat my Berry, and I'm going to kill this guy. And, yeah. He was talking about it after. He was like, yeah, I probably should have gone Jirachi there. If he had gone Jirachi there, I would have had to switch out. I would have probably gone to Vikavolt, and I would have probably pressed, like, Sticky Web or something. Again, who knows how the game would have turned out at that point. Knowing what this Jirachi had, we now can make a little more of a guess why he didn't go to Jirachi. But I don't know. I feel like if you Healing Wish there, it's really nice. Or just press a U-turn. But yeah, that worked out super well for me. So yeah, at this point, I've killed the Scizor. I still don't know what this is doing. This could have a lot of different moves. So I'm going to press Healing Wish. This will let me heal something later if I really need to. Like if this comes in and takes a shit ton of damage. I don't know. I felt like it's just better to get momentum here. If I press Mystical Fire or something and something comes in, if this Synthesis is on me, I'm really sad. So if that did come back in though, and I clicked Moonblast, I don't know if it would have killed. Well, actually, it may not have, because it could have Terra Poisoned. So yeah, I think this was the correct play here. I think just getting rid of the Gardevoir and letting it come back in later was really good. Or, I'm sorry, letting something else come back in later. Obviously, it's dead, so yeah. Very happy with how that turned out. Jirachi comes out. Doom Desire, again, there would have been really scary, but he tries to U-turn. It's now Landorus o'clock, so after looking at the calcs here, I'm still not... I do have a really, really low roll to two-shot this with Earthquake. Obviously, I could call it the Terra and U-turn the second time, or press Rock Slide, or press Earthquake again, or whatever. But I figure, you know what, I'm always Earthquaking here, right? So I'm gonna click Quake. As we saw, this Jirachi was 252 for special attack Calm. So I don't think this could have lived. Especially defensive. Again, we'll be looking at the wrong set here. We have to go back to Adamant, go back to 252, go back to Earthplate, and go back to not this move. Doesn't really matter. And then go back to 31, and then finally put Earthquake on here. So yeah, this kills on every roll. Happy with that. Could have been Sash, Custap, I don't know. Obviously, would have pivoted the plan if this stayed alive, but nice to just kill it. Serena comes out. I'm just going to U-turn here. I don't want to deal with this doing anything. I could predict the Terra and press Earthquake, but I'm really scared of this dying, because if this dies, I have to play the 50-50 games with Iron Bundle. And I know this isn't... I know this has a lot of... well, I don't know anything about this thing's stats, except that it doesn't have an item anymore, actually. So, yeah, I want to get out of here. So I'm going to press U-turn. He doesn't Terra there. I think... I don't think it ended up mattering, but yeah. I'm trying to think, like, if you Terra there... Are you scared of getting hit by Earthquake? Like, what are you scared of? Now knowing he couldn't kill this, I guess it didn't really matter. You could knock or something. But as long as this stays alive, it's like, Bolt can't do anything. So, I'm going to go into Vikavolt here. He's going to press U-turn on the Vikavolt and go into Raging Bolt. So here, I'm like, okay, I have won the game, right? Because as soon as Landorus comes back in, this thing is going to get hit by Earthquake. We know it can't avoid that. And then it can't Thunderclap me or anything, and this is going to die to an Earthquake too. So, yeah, we're all set. I'm going to press U-turn here, and game's wrapped. So, U-turn, even if this died, like, that's fine if it presses Meteor. Bring Landorus back in, gets the Healing Wish, didn't really end up mattering. And I'm just going to quit Quake. I don't think there's any way this ever survives that Quake. Even if it does, if it has that much in defenses, I'm probably surviving the Dragon Pulse at that point, so, yeah. Get that, and then Serena comes out, and that's going to get quaked. So, really clean game. I think the biggest mistake I made was assuming that the Greninja was not Specs. Again, it didn't end up mattering at all, because, I mean, it didn't hit anything except Bundle and the Clodsire. But, yeah. Super clean. Everybody pulled their weight. I think Landorus did exceptionally again. This guy has been... I picked him up, what, week 4? This guy has been a star both times I brought him. He's been absolutely amazing. Having physical ground type coverage is just, like, good, strong physical ground stab. It's just so good. And I think my team was really lacking that. Well, it was really lacking that because my only ground was Claude, and he's not going to fast Earthquake, you know? So this guy is Extra Drill Light. He's my new baby. I love him. He's super cool. Maybe I'll run a special set one week. I don't know. But yeah, that put me in a really good spot. We can look at the rest of Christian's team here really quick. My Pachirisu Gambit ended up working here, it seems. He added Hyper Voice, which is a totally useless move that isn't going to do him any good. But it hits Pachirisu. So, yeah. I was thinking maybe Heavy Slam, but yeah, I mean, or Weather Ball or something. So I guess Hyper Voice is a better bring than Weather Ball into the team I brought. But yeah, very nice. I think Air Balloon was a great bring on this guy. This guy looks pretty standard to me. He's outspeeding everything except, it's probably outspeeds Floatzel. This guy was very scary. The Dual Wing Beat, I never look at Dual Wing Beat. Obviously close combat's gonna do a lot of damage. Dual Wing Beat, actually, I don't think that would kill Vikavolt. So I might have been able to do something to Vikavolt, but yeah. Tough stuff. This guy was so scary. I'm very, very glad that I got it killed the way I did. He ended up bringing Custat Berry on this, which is really cool. Custat Healing Wish would have been awesome. Unfortunately, my guy was too strong. Without Earthplate, he might have been able to live that. That actually might be why he stayed in there, and didn't just sack Serena, or go into Serena or something. Thunderbolt, definitely to deal with the Iron Bundle, would have probably done good damage, probably 2-shot. Iron Bundle's not very especially defensive. The Serena, Terra Fairy was good to know, so yeah, I guess that's why. I don't know. Terra's tough there against the Landorus. If you don't think it's going to U-turn and you're like, oh, it's going to Earthquake, like that's especially if you don't have something to kill it, right? The Play Rough, maybe for Conk. Let's see. Probably for Conk, I assume, or maybe Sableye if Sableye wanted to spin block, which was something I was thinking about. I was thinking about Roselli Berry Sableye, actually. I was bringing a lot of berries in my first thing. It was called Berry to Meet You. And then Knock, U-turn, Rapid Spin. We didn't see the Knock. I think we just saw U-turn. He loves U-turn, man. He's a Turner. He's Timmy Turner. Timmy U-turner. Glowing Coal, the Arm Rouge. This thing, I'm very glad I killed. This could have been really annoying. A trick on something that I didn't want to get tricked would have been... I don't know. Obviously, if Bundle gets tricked, or... if Bundle gets tricked, or Gardevoir gets tricked, I guess these things aren't the end of the world. In fact, if pretty much anybody gets tricked, it's not the end of the world, but, yeah. I don't know who he wanted to trick. Maybe the Clodsire. If Clod gets tricked, it's the end of the world. The thing just can't do its job anymore. Energy Ball, probably to kill the Floatzel. Psyshock. I think the Jirachi also Thunderbolt to kill the Pelipper. Psyshock to kill the Claude. I think this may have been scarier if it wasn't Specs, but yeah, I was really worried about the Endure stuff, so I played around it really nicely, I think, even though it didn't happen. Yeah. I also do think Flash Fire could have been interesting there to come in on like a fire move that was supposed to be killing Scizor, but I don't think you expect that really, because again, my only two guys that can even do fire moves that aren't like Will-O-Wisp or Sunny Day are Conkeldurr and Gardevoir, and it's Fire Punch and Mystical Fire. So, I mean, maybe Sableye can do Mystical, I don't know. But these guys can't. I guess I could Weather Ball Fire, actually. I've been thinking about that. Don't tell anybody. And then, yeah. Don't know exactly what he's EVing for here, but he's got EVs. So, yeah, and our team ended up pulling it off. So, super, super happy. That's putting me, where at? Let's see. Looks like #1 in the division. Gardevoir sitting at 5 kills along with Floatzel. Arkelodon at 7. Obviously didn't get a kill that week, but did what it was supposed to do. Bundle also struggling this week. MVP was definitely Gardevoir this week, though. Gardevoir and Landorus just carrying the team right now, or this week. Yeah, awesome guys. So yeah, we'll take a little look at the rest of the guys really quick before I sign off. Steven unfortunately lost this week. It was a tough match. Goman read the Goldango switch in. He was Air Balloon Goldango, and Goman called it. He switched into Ursaluna, and Goldman called it the Fire Punch. And it's like, what are you going to do? It's tough. I think you have to not do that the first time if you really need the Goldango. You can't just hope he doesn't call it out, because that's... I mean, you can if you're in a position, but I think he was in a position where he didn't have to do that. But again, I don't remember. Gilbert won. Gilbert's clawing his way back up. Yazid won. Yazid beat Faisal. He brought Mirror Herb, Unburdened Sneasler, and it's set up in front of Komo'o, Clanger's Soul. Yeah, I was like, Faisal, you have to bring setup this week, and he brought it, and it got Mirror Herb. So that's kind of sad. As soon as it got Mirror Herb, it's like the game's over. I mean, Sneasler outspeeding everything, and is at +1 speed, and is at +1 attack, and is at +1 defenses. It's like, Jesus Christ. Daniel, I think, lost to Jake this week. Christian lost to me. Adam beat Steven. It was very sad. I get sad when Steven loses, because I want Steven to win. Faisal lost, and then I think David played Jake. That was really early in the week. And then on the other side, Avalon finally lost, so Case is taken over as the #1 in the pool. This should be updated soon. Cole lost to Spencer, so playoff race on both sides here. Actually, let me see if this is okay, no, still hasn't been updated yet, but playoff race on both sides is close. No one's safe, because you can still, everybody here can still 5-4, or yeah, so I still gotta keep working. It's gonna be tough. The next few weeks I have let's see, next week I have Jake, who's a little newer, but he has some scary guys. The week after that I have David, who's like the wild card, and then I have the super wild card Daniel. So Daniel, I think, is going to be my toughest in terms of like team wise, because he has a Zoroark, and my team doesn't do great against ghosts. But besides that, I think this week Jake is going to be tough because of Rapid Strike. Rapid Strike is like, he's strong. I should be able to outspeed him with a lot of stuff. I think Gardevoir doesn't outspeed him though, so this might be a Scarf Gardevoir week. I'm not sure. Heartcold's really annoying. Noivern Kintera, it's gonna be a mess. So we got to figure it out. The one thing I do know is he loves Focus Sash, so Rocks is going to be a really high priority. And then David. Got a lot of... Yeah. And then, like I said, Daniel. I think I have a pretty good matchup into David's team. I mean, we'll see. But Floatzel is outspeeding and killing most of his stuff. Ditto is a little scary. Actually, I will have to prep for Ditto. And then, yeah, Daniel, Hisuian Zoroark is going to be the big one. I've got some tricks for it. We'll see how they work. Hopefully they work. And, yeah, hopefully I win my next three. I'm really happy with how I played this week. Christian played a great game. I don't think he made too many mistakes. I just think he didn't. I don't know. He got some turns wrong, and I got some turns right, and that's what happens in Pokemon. But he played really well. He got kills where he needed to get kills, and he just couldn't beat Landorus. And he fell for my trap. So yeah, good week. I think that's everything. I think I'm going to say signing off. I did change my Vikavolt back, so it is now my Terra Captain. Yeah. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next week. And let's see if anybody got my thing in Archipelago. I don't know. Gotta figure that out. All right. Bye bye. I love you all.